Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music. You know who I'm talking to. This is Wildcat Hawkins. He's got a brand new album out. It is called Gotham Hellscape. I am super excited to talk to him all about it. How are you doing? What's going on?
Oh, I'm doing great, Austin. It's always good to chat with y'all and
Always a
get in a
pleasure.
conversation.
I know we're going to get into a good one because you've got this all new record out. And just by the name, you usually get like an impression based off the name or what it's going to be. This one feels like it's going to be a little bit darker, yet I listened to the full thing and it's got some lighter, brighter notes about it. It's still, definitely got your feel, but I want to hear all about it, so let's get right to it. Tell me about Gotham Hellscape. What's it all about?
Yeah, so this was an album that I didn't see coming.
Oh,
Um, so the thing about it is it's really an expression of my world as an otaku character that I am, I'd say. And what I
okay,
mean by that is I become absorbed in creating a storyline for a Batman movie that I'd like to see. And I create music for it. And
sure.
it's just inside my mind, but it's something to behold that other people like listening to, I find.
How so? In what way? So you had Batman in the back of your mind while making this thing?
Yeah, let me get to that. So my
Sure. Yeah,
start
yeah, go
time,
for it.
I have moved to Minnesota, and my start time for my job was delayed.
Oh, okay.
And when it was delayed, it was as if a power came over me, and all of a sudden there was a lot of music flowing into my head.
Okay.
And I was seated at the piano, playing this piano, and all of a sudden, without meaning to, I created what sounded to me like a theme that I thought would be very suited to anchor an entire soundtrack, and that was Wounded Animal.
Okay.
That was
All
the
right.
first thing that came to me.
Nice. Okay. So with that, in mind, I'm assuming it was a similar process to the last ones. You sat down and kind of let the music flow through you. Is that correct?
So, because of the fact that I was trying to come up with a semi-narrative kind of feel for this album, and I was crafting that narrative as I went, and letting my intuition guide that process. That was the thing. And once I had come up with this theme in my head, I thought, wow, that has got a lot of it's got an edge to it that I could hook onto. And that was the Bruce Wayne theme, Wounded Animal, which appears in a few different tracks.
Totally.
And, I said, geez, I want to work with this. So I threw myself into it because I was kind of like a zoo animal pacing back and forth when my job didn't start.
Okay. That makes sense. It's a lot of maybe a little bit of anxiety of just like, okay, I've got this downtime and I'm supposed to be enjoying it, but also like I want to get my life on the road and get this thing going.
There was a synergy here because what I do with my modeling, I am starting to look quite a bit like Batman, in my opinion.
Sure.
Batman is drawn in different ways by different artists. But when you look at the type of proportion that you find in my skeleton, regardless of what's happening with my training at all, it looks quite a bit like Batman, I'd say.
That's
How
nice.
quite a few of them are drawn.
Yeah, well, I was going to
So,
say the album cover kind of speaks for itself here.
and that's just, yeah, I want to remind Warner Brothers, which is when I hear that name, Warner Brothers, that like almost it's like holy to me almost because I was a big fan
Sure.
of Looney Tunes when I was a kid, and of course they do Batman stuff. So
Of course.
it's like hallowed ground type of a vibe to me. But I know that they know who I am and they know what I look like. So I just want to remind them that I'm not using any TRT. I'm not even hitting the weights or eating that much, and I already
Yeah,
look that big.
totally. Well, that's the thing is like I said, the album cover speaks for itself. You've got the mask on, but it's very much a front body pick. And so that's like kind of what you're getting here. Um,
I drew that mask on in Pixlr.
oh, are you serious? It's not a real mask?
Pixlr, guys, hit me up, Pixlr. I use your program. If you want to work with me, hit me up, Pixlr.
I like that. I had honestly had no idea, but it looks really good.
Just my art.
Yeah, looks great, man. Um, One thing that I really enjoyed about this record, among many, is so I put it on and I played it through YouTube. So if you're not paying attention to it and you have it playing on the in the background, you don't necessarily know when one song ends and the other, starts, which I like a lot. For me, this album felt like something that you can have on in the background and you can have it on as just, it playing and you enjoying it, or you can focus in and focus directly on the songs. What I'm trying to say here is like you've crafted a specific sound that is different from your other ones, one that you can break down these songs and play them in specific moments, or you can just have a full record to enjoy as a whole thing, which I think, you've done this in your records in the past, but it kind of has that feel about it to where it becomes one, it's cohesive, it's just one body of work. Was that always the plan?
Well, the thing about a soundtrack that I love is it's meant for that. It affords me the opportunity to make one
Right.
statement musically, if possible.
Exactly. Did it become more difficult to then make the album because you wanted it to all have a specific, feel and emotion to it?
The amazing thing about the album process was that I did feel as if a power had come over me. And what I'd like to share with the people at home is the following. Um, when I record this music, I have a video in my cell phone. So there is an elapsed time that's running on that phone,
Oh,
and the screen is facing me as I play. So I don't look at it, but sometimes it just comes into my peripheral vision is the thing that screen does. There's a concept that a spiritual concept of drawing to things. And what I find is that my eye draws to that sometimes. And what I'd like to share with the people at home is that on over 50% of those occasions, I was peering at a number 33
oh,
as I was
interesting.
recording this music. So that was
Okay.
one intriguing aspect that it seemed like the process was almost magnetic to me, I'd say.
Okay. Does that number have any specific meaning to you, or do you think it just happened because it happened?
I find that there's a wavelength that's associated with the number sometimes. And I
Hmm.
don't think that I'm not suggesting that it's anything Masonic per se. I don't know what the deal is with it. It's something that indeed happened, and it's okay if people think that it's weird that I'm sharing it, but I think that I should share it.
Sure, I completely understand that. As opposed to some of your other records, you've talked in the past about how the other ones kind of just flowed through your fingers and they made it, or and you made it. Did a similar thing happen here? It kind of sounds like something overcame you and it just kind of happened.
What I think is that this project, Gotham Hellscape, is a coalescence of many projects in my life. What you might
Sure.
not know is that the people at home might not know that I once had an upstairs apartment in Eau Claire and I would train all day in the dead of winter. I did parkour and I can
Nice.
jump out of trees and stuff, but my legs collapsed eventually.
Yeah.
That was the thing. So I was ready to become like Charles Bronson or some crap like that. And
Sure.
then my real life started to reflect Charles Bronson movies too much, and that wasn't good. And then I kind of just had to go on a personal journey, and that's where I've been at. So I don't want to, I don't want to just waste the talent that I may have that might look good
Nice.
on camera if I do some good moves.
I understand. Is there like is there a period on this record that gets you the most excited? Basically, what I mean is like this thing runs a little bit shy of an hour, which is, pretty significant for an album. You've been so focused on singles. I know you've put out albums and this and that, but is there like a 5 to 10 minute period that you're just like, wow, I think I'm striking gold here?
Well, one good way to listen to it if you don't have an hour to listen is to start from My Girl Babs.
Okay.
So that is a turning point in the movie. It's where Bruce Wayne is on a date with Batgirl, and it's very romantic. So
Yeah.
you can start with that song, and then you can listen to Explosion at Wayne Tower next, which is also a very touching song.
Yeah.
Because what you might not realize is that as Wayne Tower is being attacked, Barbara and Bruce are being intimate with one another at that exact moment.
Sure.
So it's actually a touching song. but just ride it through to the end. I suggest that's a good way to listen. Another good way, I think, is just to listen to the end of the album sometimes. Start from Gotham's Healing, and then listen to My Girl Bab's Reprise, and then listen to First Contact.
There you go. You heard it here first. That's the order. Although I always recommend people listen from start to finish to get the ultimate feel, because I do think that this thing flows very nicely in terms of emotions, and just like that's kind of the hardest part of creating an album, is riding the wave of it. It all can't be like 10 out of 10. You kind of have to bring it down sometimes to bring it back up. And I feel that maybe even that period kind of does that really nicely. And that's why I like your work, because it's not just all power and all energy. You do such a great job of riding that wave, which again is very difficult to do.
This one, to me, is an expression of balance, where there's a lot of tension throughout the
Yes.
album, and then the tension really does break in a major way with songs like My Girl Babs, for instance.
Right. Now, obviously, this record was created, with Batman in mind. I'm a big fan of the Batman movies, but a big thing of them is, of course, the scores. They play such a paramount and serious part in the movies. Of when you listen, like it's half the fun is taking you on a joyride. Now, I guess the obvious question here is like, do you have a favorite Batman score from a specific movie?
I am a pretty big fan of Batman 1989, Danny
Sure.
Elfman stuff, so I like that quite a bit.
Okay.
That'd be my
Um,
choice.
Another thing that we've talked about a fair amount is syncing. Your music is primed for it, especially because a lot of it doesn't have words. You're operating off the emotions and just the way that it makes you feel. So, what steps are you going to take to get these songs synced? Because they're perfect for them. They just need an audience.
The amazing thing about me is that I was overly unassuming, right? People with my personality sometimes are very hung up on the idea of not selling out whatsoever. And
I
I've got
understand.
almost like a complex, I find. So I sometimes like to hang back a little too much in my life. See, that's the thing. I'm actually going to a therapist after I
Yeah,
get off with you. I got a therapist now, so I'm going to try and learn how to correct some of these. I'd say a pathology. I'd say some people they don't feel real comfortable making moves on the
sure.
chessboard, but some people feel like they don't belong on the chessboard even. And I'd say I'm kind of stuck there, and I'm about to step into a more I don't know, stop being the one that's always on the outside, living the hermetic way. And I'm going to try and
Yeah.
step my foot forward and inhabit my body some more, make some of those type of moves, not just karate moves.
I'm actually really happy you said that. I relate with you so much on that topic. It's like it's tough to make things and then try to get them out to the world, because in one way it's like you don't want to brag, you don't want to be too in people's faces, but you should also be proud of the things that you've created and put out into the world. Especially music like this that is seriously moving. And I know it's difficult to do that. And I'm really happy that you're talking to someone and trying to get over that, because I've said it in the past, but like your music really is perfect for films and serious like cinematic pieces. It's yeah, go for it.
Oh, no, don't go on. I'm sorry.
No, no, no,
You
no. That was essentially my thought. But it's true, really, like your music just it holds such weight to it and value. And it's like, I mean, how many artists are out there making great music that, don't get the time of day, because, getting your music out there is incredibly difficult. But syncing them and getting them out to audiences, like that's what this needs.
Well, I would like it if I don't know how this would happen, but if I could cast a spell, I would love it if Werner Herzog would listen to Multiple Rabbits, Multiple Hats, because what I know about Werner is that he's looking for the music that really is genuinely different.
I agree.
And I think he'd enjoy it. So I don't know. I'd just like to show it to him.
No, I fully agree. I've in the past month he's like been on the podcast circuit, so I've listened to a couple episodes of him being on, and like his eyes and ears and what he's looking for, like this is that. I don't know what Batman movies might be in in the works, but there's always something happening. And it's all about sending those emails and tweeting and tagging people, and it's like you never know who's going to have their ears on something. It's important.
Well, what I find is that there are phases of marketing. And for me, as I was saying, it's real important for me not to get into too many interactions that I end up regretting because, the story must be told. That is the first phase of marketing.
Right.
And I think it'll be fair to say after my interview with you tonight that people have some idea of what they're dealing with when they hear the name Wildcat Hawkins. That just was a pretty unknown thing before, and now
Right.
it's less unknown than it was.
Totally. And like I've said, it's a memorable name. You hear that name once, you're not forgetting it, especially once you listen to the music. Um, so
I was going to mention
when,
real
yeah,
quick. I'd
please,
like to
please.
I just want to paint a picture so people know.
Yeah.
My first choice for director is Wes Anderson, otaku character that he
Okay.
is. If that could
That
ever
would be
happen, that
great.
would be my first choice. But I am a big fan of everything that Werner does in general too. But I just wanted to mention that.
No, please, man. That's awesome. When is the actual release date for this record?
That'll be on Thanksgiving, so you can find it on my
Perfect.
Spotify. Search Wildcat Hawkins, and you'll find my stuff. And I've got a new bio also. If you want a short form bio, I finally have one.
There you go. That's honestly, you know, working in music, I see when people release music, no one is releasing music on Thanksgiving. And I don't understand it. People always wait for Friday, of course. You want a day where not a lot of people are releasing music, release it on a holiday. And I'll tell you why. It's because generally people are with their families, people have downtime, they're not at work. I know my plans for Thanksgiving is, I'll be together with family. And I know for 100% fact, I will put this on. I will put this record on release day and have it playing in the background. I'm not joking. And it will set the mood perfectly because, like I said, to really kick this thing off, is it doesn't need to be super in your face. You know what I'm saying? Like you can have it playing in the background and have an ear kind of get to it, but at the same time you can also listen intently and follow along with the songs. It has such a versatility about it. um yeah, that's my plan. I will be playing this thing on Thanksgiving. I will tell you that right now.
I'm happy to hear that. I don't know if you noticed, I introduced some of kind of like the chewy, jazzy vibe into the middle of the
Totally.
record.
Totally.
So that's good for that type of occasion, I'd say, like working on the turkey and stuff. I don't know.
Exactly. And I think instrumental music might be better because, not everything needs to be a sing along. If you're playing around, or if you're, on the couch talking to family or eating dinner or whatever it might be, like you don't want to play songs that are big old sing alongs. You want to have things that set moods.
I just want to reassure the people at home I am making moves. I have a Masonic brother that is a promoter of a certain kind. I'm not going to say anymore, but I
Sure.
am making moves. And I have got some people on the hook. I just went from, I think, 8 Spotify listeners to 450 in like 2 seconds. And people see the short form bio is something that pulls people in because they can
Totally.
decide whether they want to be interested in me or not based on the fact that, you get the gist of it. Spiritual type of dude, big nerd, blah blah blah.
I get it. Um, well, I ask you every time, but it's always a valid question. So, we're recording this nearly at the end of November. You've been on a crazy hot streak in terms of releases in 2023. Is this it for this year? And then we look forward to next?
Uh it might be some video clips to look forward to for I'm going to be in the dojo a lot over the
Cool.
next couple of months. So there might be some videos coming for that from that. And also I may be creating a short music video,
Nice.
but
Okay.
there's one piece of information I want to leave the people at home with, and that is
Yeah,
the following. I want to tell you why I 180'd the way I have.
sure.
The reason why I told my story and I would say almost submitted to become the emo character that I truly am. It's just the truth. I end up looking like, there you have it, a wounded animal in all this, if I'm being honest.
Sure.
So what I find is that, maybe 95% of women are into a dude with a vibe like Travis Kelsey or some shit, but you know, there's other girls out there more like Tegan and Sarah and shit might like me. So who gives a
Totally.
shit? You
Yeah,
know?
man. That's a great point right there. Before we
And I want to
wrap,
use my
yeah,
gifts. I don't,
sure.
because I'll leave it on the table. Like I'm the squishy one that's not something to be embarrassed of. I created Gotham Hellscape, you guys,
Yeah.
and I
There,
used that squishiness and that sensitivity to create it.
absolutely, man. Your music is a mirror into you. It's not always on what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside, and that's the music flowing
Also,
through
I
you.
can win a lot of fights. I can win a lot of fights.
Sure. You can have it both ways. You can be a
I don't
soft
want to though.
person.
I don't want to go
Yeah,
back to that like in my youth. I don't want to go back to it, but I could.
exactly. Um, Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you, and I basically want to know, is there anything more on this record that you think people should know before they listen?
There's just a little touch is that my vocal tone, as you've noticed, I'm working on it so I don't sound as much like Poindexter because I was disconnected from my diaphragm from trauma.
Yeah.
And the chakras I live in are heart and third eye primarily, as you all know. But when my legs collapsed, I dissociated from the feelings in them, and I have got no consciousness in my lower chakras as a result. So what I've done is instead of telling myself I have TS, so I don't stand a chance to work with my energy, I've said instead I'm going to try and work with my energy with a woo woo type of Eastern concept like that. And if I work with
Yeah,
it and I ground my energy, I've found some luck with it. It's as if anxiety is floating through my legs into the damn ground, Austin, and it
totally.
works. I want to tell people about that and they might want to give it a try. I know that I'm always going to have TS and shit, but
Sure.
I find that trying to work with my energy is somewhat worthwhile, I'd say.
I agree, man. And listen, like the output of the music has been great. We've talked about this a ton, and it's really just great what you're doing, that you're keeping up with it. There's such a constant flow of music. And I sincerely think people are going to love Gotham Hellscape as much as anything else. Um, so yeah, man, with all that being said, I obviously want to thank you for talking, and I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and whatever you might celebrate. But yeah, hit me with some closing thoughts if you have them.
Here's one. I didn't tell you guys this because I didn't know any different than most people when it comes
Sure,
to Dan. But when I was in my youth and I went out and saw Blues Brothers 2000 in theaters, it
sure.
was just it was just something about that Dan Aykroyd. God, it just I felt so fucking connected to that man. I don't know what to
Yeah,
tell you. And God, it's really deep to me. I just it is. And I just really think that he is a blue collar cut up that I can relate with, kind of like Bill Murray and George Carlin and
oh
stuff.
yeah,
But God, that was deep, man. I didn't know what it was, but there was just something about that guy, and I felt so connected to him, and I still do
totally.
to this day. And I want to tell people about that experience, deep as
Awesome,
that
man.
is. And the other thing
um
is this:
yeah,
I know who I made contact with. I'm not going to tell you, but I know who it is.
yeah,
That's all I'm going to say about that. So
that's
yeah,
fine.
wait for the rest to unfold. And hey, I love you guys all. Thank you so much for getting to know me and treating me with kindness. It means a lot to me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for always just being honest and real. So for everyone out there, Gotham Hellscape will be out on Thanksgiving. That's when this comes out. I'm excited for you to listen. And seriously, thank you so much for taking the time. It always means so much.
Thank you, Austin. You were the bomb.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.
Yeah, see you around.
Bye bye.